by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us.
No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Therefore, strengthen your feeble arms and weak knees. Make level paths for your feet, so that the lame may not be disabled, but rather healed.
Make every effort to live in peace with all men, and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one misses the grace of God, and that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many.
This is just the last introduction into our Lent series. We've looked at that big intro about what it's all about, why we're doing this, to draw closer to Jesus. And Brian yesterday spoke about the Passover and how we need to be ready to run, ready to leave our old way of life behind, to get dressed up, ready to eat. And then once we are tasting Jesus' life and love in our hearts, we're ready to go, ready to run. And the Israelites left Egypt behind, and they were on their way to the promised land, which is a picture of heaven. And with us, we are on our way. If you've believed in Jesus, and together as a church family, we've left our sin, we've left all that behind, we've tasted Jesus' love, we are on our way to heaven, to live with our living God forever, to the new heavens and the new earth, the home of righteousness. In between that, it's like a race. Hebrews describes it here. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. If you've watched any of the athletes on TV, the Olympics, I know we had them cancelled this past year, didn't we? But if you can think back, if you watch the footballers, all the sports people, rugby players, cricketers, all of them, they start off fresh in the race, don't they? But as they go on, the sweat starts to pour and you can see their legs start to get wobbly, and they get out of breath. And that's why it says, run with perseverance. We need to keep going. We need to keep trusting and following Jesus. And what do they do along the way, particularly with a marathon, is they have those watering stations, don't they, where they have those little sachets of gel full of sugar, full of energy and fresh water. And you see the runners grab it on their way and they down it, don't they, as quick as they can. They push that gel sachet full of sugar and you see them get a new burst of energy, a new lease of life on the race. How does that happen with us on this run? We're on the run away from sin towards Jesus. How are we going to keep refreshed? How are we going to keep being full of energy and power? Well, it's not going to come from inside us. We have to learn to stay in that place, like Brian said, of feeding on everything that Jesus has for us. We don't move away from the cross. We don't move away from that. We don't move on from that. We stay there on our race that Jesus has marked out no matter what happens. And there's going to be all sorts of problems and troubles to overcome. As we fast, there's going to be desires in our hearts that come out that we never knew. That's the way we're driven. That's what we really want in life that we're going to have to deal with. How are we going to deal with all that? By keeping on coming back to the cross, back to what Jesus has done for us. As it says here, in this race that we're running with perseverance, let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. He's run this race thousands of years before us, and he's run it so perfectly, so amazingly, completely trusting the Father and looking to him to pour out the Holy Spirit on him, to give him everything he needed for his race. And we've seen he is tempted in every way just as we are, yet was without sin. He never put a foot wrong, never stumbled, never tripped, never fell, never gave up. He wrestled with all those temptations and he never did. So that's why we need to keep our all eyes during this Lent period coming to Easter, all eyes on Jesus, because he's so incredible, so loving. And that's what we're saying. We need to throw off everything that entangles or hinders. Have you ever seen the London Marathon? And someone, it was very famous one year, wasn't it? Someone wore a huge diving suit. They're basically wrapped up in plastic and leather with a big glass dome on their head. It took him ages, it took him hours, and everyone was like, why are you running with that on? Okay, it was a bit of a laugh, it was funny, it was fun at the time. But you think, if you are running a race to win, you're not going to run with all that. It's like, take that glass dome off, take those heavy clothes off, wear something that's suitable. And that's what Jesus is saying. The Christian life is a race, and we constantly need to be untangled from all the sin that so easily grabs us and wraps itself around us. Stuff that isn't sin as well. We need to throw off anything that hinders, anything that gets in the way. And that's what we're going to be exploring through this Lent time together. As Jesus shows us something that might be hindering, we look to him to change us, to give us a new heart, a new attitude towards that, to replace those thorns that entangle us with life, to replace that darkness and gnashing our teeth in anger and frustration with comfort and help. So on this race, we're ready to go because we're ready to eat, and we're feasting on everything that Jesus has for us, on his life, on him. But that's how we need to carry on running the race, constantly turning away from all these things and turning to Jesus, looking to him to give us what we need, to fill us with his help, his comfort, his life, his hope, his energy, his glory, his love, everything that he possibly has. And to do that, we need to keep our eyes fixed on him, not looking elsewhere for any of that, but just him and him alone. That's how we're going to strengthen our weak knees and stop ourselves from trembling and getting faint and tired. If he refreshes us, if he gives us his life, and we need to look to him to allow him to help us on this race. Consider him who endured such sinful opposition from sinful men, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. Let's not lose heart and get tired on this race towards Jesus in the new heavens and new earth. He has been through it all ahead of us. He understands us. He knows us. He knows what we need. Let's fix our eyes on him as we run, and let's help each other to keep looking to Jesus and receive everything he has for us. God bless. See you soon.